Right, hey everybody, this is Saul Castaneda with mcscgreenwheels, and I'm coming at you today. Happy 4th to everyone out there. And just going to catch up on the video that we started with our steering wheel here. As you guys know, we opted out to go for our Cobra style steering wheel without the cruise control setup here in the buttons on the side. We went ahead and got our brand new steering wheel, which is, you can see here, doesn't have the cutouts for that. The problem that we were running into is that we had like a little stick and relay over here for our horn setup. So once we figured out that was what I was getting, that was what was happening, I went ahead and just opted out to go ahead and pick up this. It was a $14. It's actually it's a Blazer setup. Got it from AutoZone. It's 14 bucks, and it's really just a 4-pin relay, and it's pretty self-explanatory. The instructions on how to do it are right down here. I'll run it with you guys real quick just to kind of catch you up on what was happening. We weren't getting our horn sound. What we were doing, we were still getting load here at our steering wheel, so it started to like smoke out a little bit. We don't want any of that stuff, so we figured out, we just went through our basic diagnosis of everything. Our relay was getting stuck on. Every time we turned out the car, the relay was completely powered up, so was getting power up here to our buttons. Finally decided just go ahead, we're going to scrap that, and we picked up this little guy right here. Now all the instructions on the powers are right there, but I'm going to go with this, go through it with you guys. And just to show you right now, I know it's a mess here, and I have everything of a spaghetti mess, which is kind of what it always is when it comes down to wiring. But just to give you a quick taste, here's what we got. So there's no key in the car, power's on, and as we all know, we want to make sure that you can get your horn to work. So, oh, what did I do now? I must have unplugged something. Hold on. Let me go to the front again. Hold on. Let me see. I think I clipped that one a little too prematurely. Where's my light tester? Yep. See you guys. See what happens. I was trying to get ahead of everyone here, and I must have clipped something when I shouldn't have. No. Okay. I got power there. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now I see what I did. So we're gonna go back to my other source of power over here. Since I disabled that old relay, we weren't gonna get power to it. So now, to kind of give you the explanation, this green wire right here, which is, and I'll go by how it says here on the book. The green wire is terminal 85. Now 85 is just a trigger lead, and it's going to be anything from 3 to 5 ohms just to create a magnetic field. It's got to be constant. Turns on the relay. What we did, instead of running our, which is where are you at? This white one right here. This is running to our horn. So this guy should be on hot. But what I did, I'm going to use the exact same setup we did over to our Coyote box setup. We're using our ground as our trigger, kind of like what we did for our clutch pedal safety switch. We use the ground as a trigger so we can trigger the relay to trigger our starter. So the same thing here. Now we got power running into the green. We got our main power, which is the black right here, and he has a 25 amp fuse running around right here. So I'm just being real careful because, again, a lot of this is still exposed, and I want to make sure that I don't short anything out just right now. We'll wait for that later. And basically what I did, this yellow one is my ground. Now this ground runs all the way to my switches on top, which goes into the steering column. And this guy right here is more power. This is my trigger, right? And we're going to keep that connected. And by the looks of it, we should hear this guy click as I give it ground. And there it is. So we got the horn situation worked out. Now I'm going to go ahead and unclip the horn in front. And my only thing that I could think of with this relay right here, now I saved it when I did the whole morphing of the wiring and everything that I did to it, as far as like the taking away of a lot of the old stuff that I didn't need on the original harness. Well, I left it on there thinking that I was going to reuse the horn relay, which we were. Unfortunately, this could probably be 30 years old. It sat in my dining room all dismembered for about 9 months till I got it all put back together. And at the end of it all, I don't know if it just went bad or if we even had a relay when we got the car, because to begin with, when we tested out the clock spring, and I showed you guys the clock spring, the ribbon was completely crushed, and it was darkened, it was all messed up. I had greenies in there, green crusty and whatnot, so that means that I had a short. The only thing I can think of is that in that process, we shorted this guy out, or it was shorted out prior to me getting to it. Unfortunately, it didn't work, so now guess what? This is going to get canceled out, and we're bringing in our new guy, which is working to perfection. As you guys saw in the relay, we had a little bit of a hiccup on the steering wheel. We got a little bit of steam back there. No damage done, so as you guys could tell, everything's working properly. So now that I wired it all back in, guess what the time is to do now? Now, it's time to make this whole thing look pretty. What we're going to do, we're going to take our two horns, what we should have done, and please excuse me because I'm melting. It is very hot today and very humid. But we're going to take our two horns, and we're going to install them. We figured out where we wanted them. Actually, we're going to put them right back in the original spot. But we needed to make sure that they were up and running, that we were going to get the proper groundings, and we're going to make it work just right. Because guess what? We want to make sure we have a car that has a horn that it actually works. I have to clean this up. Alright. Clean this up real quick. Clean this out. Ground. Let me clean the back up. Alright, that's my ground. Do like this. Now we gotta get the other one. That's the one. Got our high-low horn here. Alright, and I'm just gonna mount them, kind of get them mounted, because there's gonna be a little bit of struggle. As you guys can see, we didn't just opt out for the regular rubber hose. We had to go ahead and be bougie and make our own, which is amazing. So we don't care because it looks great. And what I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and set these guys up. I have a little nut missing here somewhere, but I'll find it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set them up like this, and we're gonna feed the powers. This guy's gonna go right here, and then my two negatives. Now, if you guys saw, I was cleaning up down here by the screw, and I know I did it like a really dingy job, but we're gonna clean this up real good at the same time because this is our bracket, and we want to make sure we're getting good contact with our ground. Once that happens, we're gonna clean this up real good, and then once it's on there, we're gonna make sure we touch that up so it doesn't get any rust later. You guys remember we picked up these horns here, and if I'm not mistaken, they came from LMR. And one of the great things that we saw, man, which is like, I'll have to show you guys again, it's right here. Has it right on the horn. It's gonna go great additions for our Chinese Mustang. This is made in America. So that's a good thing to see. I know I'm just, you know, kicking a dead horse here, but we don't care. So this is the basic setup I'm gonna do. Now the reason I got, these are my grounds, it's gonna ground to the body, and then I'm gonna feed the power through the relay. So these guys should work out just as we hope. So you guys saw, I went ahead and just made a little bit more of a better grounding connection, and at the same time I gotta move some things around down here because obviously we kept the original mounting bracket on there. So right now we're just gonna do a little bit of moving around to make sure that we get let me put this guy right in here. That's one. And that's two. Alright. Wait a minute. That's right. Okay. So I got them wired up. I'm going to put them in. Again, like, I have to do a little finagling because as you guys know, we got these in here. So it's going to be a little bulky. We have our fuel line here and our return line here, which we're going to end up tucking away in a little bit. But we also have this guy, so I know that I can move them up a little bit, give me a little bit of clearance, and tuck these guys away back there. So that's the initial plan. Let's see if we can execute it real quick. Alright. Because you see how it's like banging around there, but I'm pretty sure once I get it in, this thing will be able to clear. Right there, buddy. Now we're just I'm getting ready so I can do like just a complete wire test on this to make sure that this dude is really gonna work out for us the way I plan that it's gonna work out for us. So bear with me, guys. Here we go. There you see, cool. Hold these grounds because I don't want them to get crushed and spun around. Alright. That's pretty solid. I'm gonna bring this one up like that. Move that one back there like that a little bit. Alright, now we got more clearance. Looks like just tighten this one down some more. Probably have to get my wrench back here, which I will. Power up my battery again because I hit the breaker on it. And let's see how that works out, guys. Now again, we're gonna come back in here and tidy all this up. As you guys know, I got my chicken wire. It's just it's an ordeal. What did I move? What did we move? Got this on, yes sir. Oh, we gotta give this ground. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to run to the store and get me just a little bolt to put in here. As you guys know, these are the bolts you use to when you're going to take off the steering wheel. You put your little your steering wheel puller, and they bolt right in there, and then goes right through the middle, and it pops it out. I was going to use it here in the middle for our screw, but you know it's really big, and the last thing I need is something else in here that's going to go ahead and give me binding when I sit down my airbag. I want to make sure that this just goes down nice and easy, gets nice and flush, and I do have enough room to put a little tiny screw here. Now I have the thread size. Now it's just a matter of go ahead and hunting for it. Now let's see how this sounds. Uh-oh, there we go. And that, my ladies and gentlemen, and anyone that watches the channel, I hope this helped you out with what would probably be your horn issue as well too. Maybe not as much as mine because again, I did a lot of dabbling in this harness, and you know, I'm cutting things off that I don't need. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this whole mess up. We did all our probing, all our testing, we got all our values. So we're gonna remove all these little things, and then we're gonna put our relay. Now, I think I'm gonna sneak him up here somewhere where I could find him and kind of attach him either to the metal, or I could zip tie him, like somewhere I could have easy access to him if I ever do need to replace it. But as you guys know, unless you have a real bad short, you don't really ever have to replace these guys. So you know, overall it's just good to have somewhere where you can have easy access to it. So what I'm gonna do, yeah, I'm gonna probably just bring them up here and kind of like piggyback them off some of these couple of these connectors and wires and whatnot, so I keep it somewhat neat as possible. So this is gonna be my ground to it. It's coming from my ignition. It's coming from my top. Now we're also not gonna use much of this stuff right here. So this is for the airbag system. This is not really going to be used at all. So this guy would just pretty much just hang here. As you guys know, we're not going to have the airbag active on it, so I'm not too worried about that. All I really got to make sure and do is I get my screw in here to get my ground. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this guy down, make sure I get my steering wheel all the way back and flush, and then we're going to go ahead and find a little screw and mount this guy on here. We're going to put a nice eyeball on him and just make sure that we have constant ground here so our horns work at all times. Now, as far as the wire tuck goes, we're going to get rid of this guy right here since he's no longer working. All these wires are pretty much dead. So that's gone, and we're not going to use him anymore. That's our fuse power, which when you chase this guy back comes up to fuse 16, which is a 15 amp right here. Be sure you keep that guy. Now I have a backup fuse going to be going on the line itself. Got a little 25 amp right here, another 15 amp right here. Again, I'm going to keep this in an area where I want to get to it. I know now that I have two 15 breakers, so I have one here and I have one here. So overall, if something goes bad first, I'm going to naturally come to the first one before I go over here, you know, or vice versa. So either which way, what we're going to do, we're going to clean this up real nice like and tuck it away so it almost seems like it belonged here. You guys could see I had to kind of reopen a lot of this stuff, which I didn't really want to do, but had to. We had to. I had to chase these wires around, make sure I got the right stuff, so I didn't go ahead and short anything out. So now that I got the right stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning this stuff all up. And there we go. It's out the way. And then this blue wire here is gonna be the power that runs to our horns. So as you guys could tell, I'm running this to our relay, which is the white wire coming to it, which is the trigger. So we're going to keep him there. We're going to put a nice spade on here. Or actually, you know what? We'll just go ahead and put them together. Cut up the wires real short. Make sure we got constant power. We'll mount it like right underneath by the cover here. So we're going to keep them exposed. This guy right here was to the original airbag system to our car, but obviously these are obsolete. I'm almost feeling saucy to go ahead and just clip them off. Because we're not going to use this anymore, so I don't know. Let me go one thing at a time, Sal. One thing at a time. Let's just keep moving forward right now. So since we got all our wiring in here, I'm gonna go ahead and bring my relay. Just kind of like make sure you find a good place for it. Now this is also our defrost relay or little box here. We're gonna go ahead and tuck him back here because he's gonna go right where our heater control unit's going to be. There's a radio and our heater control unit, or actually radio down here, heater control unit on top. So we're going to keep him close over there, just in case we ever need to get in there. We'll get in there and swap him out. So my relay, I'm going to bring him up. I'm going to tidy him up right up here to the heater box, along with some of these other wires. And this is my trans. This loom of cable here is going into my transmission. So I'm just going to go ahead and piggyback them right there. It shouldn't be that big a deal, and let's clean it up. So I went ahead and I just kind of I cleaned everything up. I got my wires where they should be, you know, everything's taped in. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit more tape on this so it stays together. So these guys will go right here. I got my relay sitting right up here against this this cord right, like this harness that goes to our trans. Now my fuse is gonna be right in here. I'm gonna keep this next to my door chime. Now these two other cables here, these are my switches for my Dakota Digital. They're going to be tucked away, and then I'm going to figure out where I'm going to put them, up here somewhere, or possibly on my dash, which I don't want to do any holes on it, so I may just make like a little bracket and then make it come off of here on one of these screws, because I want to keep it nice and neat. I don't want to drill any more holes into this thing. So as of right now, we've set everything up, we fed it some power, and let's see. Bam! Working perfectly. Now we got a horn on Staff Sergeant Reckless. And as you guys can notice, look at this dash frame. Like, I don't think you're ever gonna find anything like this dash frame ever in your life. Like, this thing is like super clean. And again, that comes from a lot of work. As you guys seen in the previous videos, our good friend Mano Negra took it apart, cleaned it up, painted the dash, and not only that, went the extra step of using our rust remover on all of this beautiful metal. Not only does it look cool, man, but it assures me that I get a good contact on my ground. So if you guys are into going that deep, I suggest you go ahead and do it. Believe me, the ground will always come through, and you know, you won't have to be searching around to see where you're gonna get it. Just label it on there, you should be good. As you guys can see, I got 1, 2 setups right here already. So even though this is just temporary, both of them are, until I get my dash put on here, and then I'll find a fixed place for them. Guys, I want to thank everybody watching on our Facebook page. Guys, get on there. We are putting every card that we possibly can as far as what we find and what's good. If you send us something, guys, at least do the due diligence. Get us some good pics. That's the best we can ask. You know, don't crop them. Just give us some good solid wide pics so people can go through the car and see it themselves. And then also make the contact available, make your link available, you know. And if you take it down, please be courteous and let us know you took it down, so now people are just calling us and letting us know the car is not available. Go ahead and do that. Jump on MCSC Greenwheels Facebook. Also, on our Instagram, thanks a lot, guys, for everybody watching. Please keep up. You can see us post the cars every day. Thanks for everybody that goes on there and subscribe and follows our content. And more importantly, here on our YouTube channel. Guys, thank you very much. We're going to keep bringing you the content as best we can. Leave us a comment. Tell me what I did wrong. And I hope to hear from you guys soon. Peace. Have a good one.